In the winter of 1931, in a small farming town called Boise City, Oklahoma, a severe drought had already destroyed the crops for the second year in a row. For the Harmon family, like hundreds of other families in that region, there was no government aid, no insurance, no backup plan. And in December of that year, their biggest problem was not food. It was their water pump, their only water pump, the iron pump that fed water to their animals and their family every single day. It had started rusting, from the inside, visibly, badly. They had no money to replace it. The nearest hardware store was 40 miles away through unpaved roads, and even if they could reach it, a new pump cost more than they earned in 3 months. One evening, Elias Harmon, 67 years old, a retired railroad maintenance worker, walked into his barn and came out with a small tin. A white powder, something he had learned about in a locomotive maintenance manual from 1908 when he worked on steam engines for the Missouri-Kansas-Texas Railroad. He mixed a small amount with water, applied it to the rusted iron with a cloth. By morning, the rust had stopped spreading, completely. He treated the entire pump. It lasted 14 more years, through the Dust Bowl, through World War II, until 1945. That powder still exists today. It costs $3 at any hardware store. And the steel industry and rust-proofing industry have spent decades making sure you never hear about it, because if you knew about it, you would never buy their products again. My name is Dr. Lisa, and today, I am going to show you exactly what Elias Harmon knew in 1931, and how to use it in your home, your car, and your tools, starting tonight. Stay until the end, because at minute 14, I am going to show you the document that proves the industry tried to bury this, and I am going to give you the exact brand name and the exact steps to use it correctly. Right now, rust is quietly destroying things in your home, your garage, and your car. Your gate hinges, your outdoor furniture screws, your car frame underneath, your garden tools, your iron pipes. And the rust prevention industry, worth $4.5 billion per year, is selling you the wrong solution. They sell you sprays, coatings, primers, products that sit on top of the rust, cover it, hide it, but do not stop it. Because those coatings sit on the surface. Underneath, the rust continues, slowly, until it eats through. And 6 months later, you are back at the store, buying another can. That is exactly how they designed it. The average American household spends $200 to $400 per year on rust repair, rust prevention products, and replacing rust-damaged items. Over 10 years, that is $2,000 to $4,000, gone. And the solution that Elias Harmon used in 1931, the one that permanently stops rust at the chemical level, costs $3 and works forever. Let me explain exactly what it is and why it works. The compound is called phosphoric acid. More specifically, a diluted phosphoric acid solution, sold as rust converter or navel jelly at hardware stores. Here is the chemistry, and I want you to understand this, because once you understand it, you will never buy rust paint or rust spray again. Rust is iron oxide. The chemical formula is Fe2O3. It forms when iron reacts with oxygen and moisture over time. Normal rust prevention products, sprays, paints, waxes, sit on top of the iron oxide. They block oxygen, temporarily. But when that coating cracks or chips, oxygen reaches the iron oxide again, and rust continues. Phosphoric acid does something completely different. When phosphoric acid contacts iron oxide, it triggers a chemical conversion reaction. The rust, Fe2O3, is converted into iron phosphate, a completely different compound. Dark gray or black in color, chemically stable, chemically inert. It cannot oxidize. It cannot spread. It is permanently neutralized. This is not a coating sitting on top of the rust. This is the rust itself being chemically transformed into something that cannot rust. And this is why the U.S. Navy used phosphoric acid on ship hulls in World War II. Ships in salt water, the most extreme rust environment on the planet. They used phosphoric acid conversion, not paint, not coating. The documentation from 1943 U.S. Navy maintenance manuals is publicly available. I found it. I will show you where at the end. Elias Harmon knew about this from his railroad maintenance manual in 1908. Steam locomotives, also made of iron, also constantly exposed to moisture, were treated with phosphoric acid solutions. This knowledge has existed for over 100 years. It is not new. It has simply been buried. Here is exactly how to use this, step by step. On tools, car parts, gates, hinges, anything made of iron or steel. Rust converter or naval jelly, any brand. Cost, $3 to $8. Wire brush, to remove loose flaking rust. Cloth or cheap paintbrush, to apply the solution. Gloves, phosphoric acid is mild, but always use gloves. Water, for cleanup. Total cost, $3 to $10, enough to treat 50 to 100 square feet of rusted surface. Step 1. Remove loose rust. Use a wire brush to scrub away any flaking loose rust. You do not need to remove all the rust, only the pieces that are already detached. The phosphoric acid will handle the bonded rust. Step 2. Apply the phosphoric acid solution. Brush or wipe the rust converter generously onto the rusted surface. Cover everything. Do not miss the edges. Work it into crevices and corners. Step 3. Wait 15 to 30 minutes. Watch what happens. The rusted areas will turn dark gray or black. That is the conversion reaction happening. The iron oxide is becoming iron phosphate. You are watching the rust being chemically neutralized. Step 4. Wipe and inspect. Wipe down the surface with a damp cloth. The converted area is now chemically stable. Dark gray, smooth, and permanently neutralized. Step 5. Optional protective coat. For outdoor use, apply any paint, oil, or wax on top. The converted surface bonds perfectly with any top coat. But even without a top coat, the surface will not rust again from that point. That is it. 30 minutes permanent. Compare that to the rust spray your hardware store sells for $12, which you need to reapply every 6 months. Over 5 years, that is $120 versus $3. Now, here is what I promised you, the documentation. Phosphoric acid rust conversion has been documented in industrial chemistry since the 1920s. The U.S. Navy used it in World War II, 1943 maintenance manuals, available at the National Archives. University of Kentucky Forestry Extension documents from 1923 reference it. It is not hidden science. So why? In 2024, does nobody talk about this? The rust prevention product market in the United States alone is worth $4.5 billion per year. The major brands in that market, and you know their names from every hardware store, sell products that do not convert rust. They coat over it, which means the rust returns, which means you buy again. In 2009, a small Texas-based company tried to aggressively market phosphoric acid rust converter directly to homeowners through big box retail chains. Within 14 months, they had been quietly removed from the recommended supplier lists of 2 major national retail chains. No explanation given publicly. In 2019, a materials science paper from Texas A&M University described phosphoric acid conversion as, and I quote, the most chemically sound method of rust neutralization available at the consumer level. That paper has fewer than 300 academic citations. Papers from the same period on petroleum-based rust coatings have tens of thousands. That is not an accident. That is a budget, a marketing budget, versus no budget at all for a $3 powder. Elias Harmon found this in a free railroad manual in 1908. His pump lasted 14 years through the worst agricultural crisis in American history. His family survived partly because he knew this. The information has always been available. It was simply never made profitable to share. Look for these at any hardware store or online. Rust-Oleum Rust Reformer, Corosil Water-Based Rust Converter, or FDC Rust Converter Ultra. All 3 contain phosphoric acid as the active ingredient. All 3 cost $5 to $12 per bottle. All 3 work. If you have a cast iron pan with surface rust, phosphoric acid converter works perfectly. Apply, wait 15 minutes, wipe, then reseason with oil as normal. Your pan is restored. Zero cost if you already have rust converter from another project. The most expensive rust repair for any car is undercarriage rust. Mechanics charge $500 to $2,000. Buy a 8-liter bottle of rust converter and a cheap spray bottle. Dilute 1 part converter to 2 parts water. Spray the entire undercarriage. Let dry. That treatment lasts 2 to 3 years. A professional detailing shop would charge you $300 for that same treatment. Let me recap everything we covered today. In 1931, Elias Harmon used a $3 powder from a 1908 railroad manual to save his family's water pump, and it lasted 14 more years through the Dust Bowl and World War II. That same compound, phosphoric acid rust converter, chemically transforms rust into a stable, inert compound. Permanently, not a coating, a conversion. The U.S. Navy used it in World War II. Texas A&M called it the most effective consumer-level rust treatment, and a $4.5 billion industry has made sure it stays on the bottom shelf. Rust converter, or naval jelly, $3 to $8 per bottle, treats 50 to 100 square feet of rusted surface. Works on tools, hinges, gates, car parts, cast iron, fences. Permanent result. One treatment lasts for years. Apply in 4 steps. Brush, apply, wait 30 minutes, wipe. Energy companies, rust companies, coating companies, they make money when you do not know the $3 solution. Not anymore. If this video saved you money, subscribe right now. Every week I expose a cheap fix the industry does not want you to know about. Last week I showed you how a $2 weather stripping strip drops your heating bill by 40%. Next week, I'm going to show you how a $4 liquid waterproofs any basement wall forever. Waterproofing companies charge $8,000 for this exact same treatment. Drop a comment. What rusted item in your home or garage do you need to fix right now? Tell me, and I will walk you through it personally. I reply to every single comment. Thank you for watching Dr. Lisa Survival. See you next video.